For the latest top tips, reviews and advice, please subscribe below.
Hello and welcome to Attwoolls Outdoors with me, Mike. Today I'm guys giving you a bit of a review video on a new product from Dometic. So this here is the Dometic Rally Air Pro driveway range. So you may be confused by the name. So essentially we've kind of merged from camper into Dometic. So Dometic now is basically going to be kind of campers all top end range. It's going to be under their Dometic branding. So it's still the same product, just the fact that the name's changing. So it's still a driveway as we've known it in many years. But for the 2021 season going forward, there's a few differences to basically be aware of. And the driveway for me is one of campers' flagship products. It's something that's completely different in the market to any other driveway. And that's what makes it so unique. It means that it's, in my opinion, it's the only driveway awning on the market that has been designed with a motorhome in mind rather than a small camper van. So for example, the main body height matches what you're going to, and that makes a difference when we're talking about the panels that go in between. It feels like when you walk out your motorhome door that you're in something that's designed, or you step out of the door into an awning. Whereas a lot of time with the camper van versions, you find that you step out of the door, you've then got a tunnel section going down into a small driveway awning, and that's where this sits and stands alone completely. And it's definitely one of, by far and away, campers' best-selling driveway awnings over the years. And for me, I can't see that changing, to be fair. But in anything, there are some more and better features built in to the new 2021 model. So let's start from the basis. It's a single point inflation. So you've got one point will pump up the whole awning. So you've got a single inflation point, and we'll look at the internal taps on the inside. Then you've got a deflation point at every single point again. So it means it's easy to get the air in, but you can also get the air out quite easily. You've got this really nice kind of almost caravan sort of look kind of thing. So you get great interior height and great sort of space. Now, the main body of it is about 2.5 meters deep. Then you've got about 1 meter in the tunnel, so 3.5 in total. And then you've got a range of different sizes. So they start at a 260 size. You then got the 330, which I've got with me here, and there's also a 390. There's also, to mention, a 390, a 330, so i.e. this size, but in their all-season fabric. That's got its own separate video. You can check that out if you want more information on that as well. And I've got all the models I'll show you later on in the video, so we can look at the sizes between the models, so we can see the differences between a 260, a 330, and also a 390. It uses kind of campers sort of 150D fabrics, so 300D fabrics. It's a pro fabric, really nice and strong, durable, and you can just sort of feel kind of the quality you have in it, really. Not only is it quick and easy to pitch, as per our Attwoolls pitching and packing video, I pitched this model on my own in the best part of, I think, 12 minutes. Now, you can either peg and pump it up and then connect it to the van, which probably works well with kind of like a, you know, if you're going into a wind-up awning. Alternatively, with the kind of pitching video we've done, we've kind of used throwover straps. Now, one thing to mention is that was the very first edition of the awning, and the section that goes over the top of the roof is an awful lot smaller now. It's only about yay big, whereas previously it was quite a bit. So you can still use the throwover strap method without actually obscuring any sort of aerials, any solar panels on top. So that's an addition that they've chopped and changed over the years. So it means that it's more versatile in many ways. You've got this really nice kind of single point pegging point. So what you can do is you can peg in one position, it'll peg the base out and also the awning at the same time. You've got PVC windows, so you get great clarity, so you can have great vision in, but also great vision out, and also roof lights to match as well. You've got this dual pitch roof system, so it helps to increase internal height, but you also find that it helps with drainage as well. And it's something they've used in their kind of caravan awnings for numerous years now, and it's something that kind of carries on. There's some additional storm straps you can buy that will go on the side here that will brace it out, and for me they're sort of a muchness. There's sort of those bread and butter items I think that you need to definitely go ahead with, and some that you can sort of live without with. One of the big changes for the 2021 season is the fact that the front panels now can be completely removed. We know that from the fact with the side panels. The side panels could always be removed, and you can interchange them, so the door position, rather than being at the back, is at the front. Now the fact the front panels can remove as well, it means that minimum weight is a lot less. So in theory, you wanted to sort of get the main awning in sort of 2 separate bags and have it more manageable. You remove the front 2 panels, remove the side 2 panels, and it means that it's much more manageable overall. And that makes a big difference when you're sort of putting it into the motorhome and back out of the motorhome as well. Because you've got sort of these kind of 2 zip pullers, you can buy some additional mesh panels as well. So you can create this almost kind of veranda kind of style. So By pulling that down, you can then feed that over the top. And again, one of the new features for the 2021 season is there's now a veranda pole, and I'll show you a bit later on how that works and how you can scrunch it up, and it means that that scenario becomes a lot smarter and a lot more solid as well. If anything, it's going to give a bit more bracing to it. But the secondary zip on the front allows you the mesh panels, and like I said, we'll go through all that on the inside. One of the other new features as well is the fact that you can actually, there's now an external kind of clip point. Let's just sort that out, get that looking a bit sharper. Wicked. So there's also now an external clip point. So if you wanted to put kind of the Pro windbreaks in front as well, you can now quite happily do that, and it then kind of actions it quite nice and seamlessly that you create that little enclosure around. The side panels can remove, and you can put annexes on either side as we kind of have here. We've got their kind of tall annex in place, so you can, again, it means you can sleep extra people without having to infringe on kind of your main living area as such. Other things to mention is the fact that you've also got a tunnel door into the section, so you can actually, if you don't want to go into the awning every single time you go into the van, you've got a separation door here, so you can walk straight into that point and go into the van, like I said, so you're not going through the awning every single time. Generally, I said it works really well. There's also a difference in the height. So all of the models I mentioned, i.e. the 260, the 330 and the 390, will fit a vehicle from 220 all the way up to about 3 meters. So 305, I think, from memory. So that's a really nice big span. What you do find is when you're on the lower end of the bracket, you do get a bit of excess material, but you've got kind of these webbing straps to kind of take it up. This kind of tunnel section is always very much kind of a sheltered area to and from the awning. It's never going to be watertight because it's really just pegging down the side, so it's all about just kind of creating something that works. What you find with this particular awning, said because the main body height's a lot bigger, when you've got these kind of panel vans, really it tends to be the only awning you flock to, because to allow that sliding door to open without having to worry about the fabric scraping the tunnel section, that's where this sort of is, like I said, in his league of its own in many ways. Not only to the fact that you have the ability of obviously altering the height, sometimes in many ways it pays dividends to miss the wind out in terms of a connection point and go over the top of the van, but it's these things where I would highly recommend, if you've got any questions, or especially with a panel van like this, that you email us a photo of your side of your van, and then we can sort of dictate whether it's going to work or not, because there are some real big pitfalls that you can find yourself in that it doesn't fit, and at the end of the day, obviously it's a hefty amount of money. You want to make sure it fits right and it's going to fit properly. So that's where it's worth contacting someone like us, and we can sort of help you with that process. You've got a new vent as well located, so you've got this vent in the top point, so it's a way of getting increased ventilation. That's one of the sort of big drawbacks that probably the last year's 2020 version didn't have. And what you find is you've got an awful lot of condensation inside the awning because you had not an awful lot of ventilation. A side panel here, you can actually have a ventilation point here. So on one of the side panels, you can roll the window back, and you've got a big mesh panel, so that'll help with increased airflow. But when the rain's coming down, you are sort of limited in what sort of ventilation you can open. So that's where this nice big vent here, that's going to be a big difference. You still tend to get an awful lot of condensation in camper awnings anyway, just because of limited ventilation points and the material being so waterproof and not breathable. So that's not, out of the ordinary anyway. But I'll tell you what, let's take the camera inside and talk for a few more features that the Driveway has to offer. So now we're inside Driveway, you can kind of get a bit more of a feel for the sheer amount of space you got in here, and I think that's honestly one thing that you can't really, it's hard to kind of imagine. It's why we have one on display at our showroom, because I think it's so unique in the way it fits, the way it feels inside, and in many ways all it's been designed to be is feel like a fixed awning, so it's physically attaches onto your motorhome, but with versatility you can drive away, and that's pretty much exactly what it does, and that's why it's so unique in the market. So what we've got here says we're inside the 330, and we'll go through the others in just a moment. So you've got two nice big panels on the inside. You've obviously got great crystal clear windows as well, so you get a great visibility on the campsite, so you can see what's going. You've also got traditional style caravan curtains as well, so that will allow you to obviously close it up, get the privacy as and when you need to. You've also got a little retaining strap, which I'll see in a second, which means it keeps the sort of curtain nice and close to the awning itself. Currently in position, I've got the mesh panel. So like I said, when we saw on the outside, you can create that kind of veranda kind of style. So you can still do that. And when you got the mesh panels in place, you would literally just fold that down and have it like so. If you didn't want the mesh panels in place and still create the veranda, that's where this pole comes into use. So this is a brand new feature for the 2021 season. So if I put that zip panel back all the way, let's take it to the ground, or else, whatever I need to. So I said, we've got that window. So there's the curtains. You can bring those across as and when you need to. Kind of traditional kind of caravan style curtains. You've got a little button clip as well, just nice and easy in there. But then you've got this little retaining strap, like I said, just keeps the material nice and close to that PVC window, so you get much better coverage. But then when you don't want to, take that back, take it out of there, and then you've got a little button clip. So no sort of messing around with a tie or anything. Press button, simple, easy. Like I said, this is the new veranda pole. So in here, you've got kind of little brackets. So it's almost like a little kind of, it's like a little, I don't know, a U-shaped part. And this part extends. So this one pole fits all of the awnings. And you can spread it out or do it in and it just locks. Same as the rear right poles they have on some of the caravan awnings. So it's quite a nice little system. So what you can do again, as I said, is you pop it in there. So you either just flop that fabric directly over. Where's the zips? Let's have a look. Low and all, they'll be somewhere awkward, aren't they? There they are. Right. So we can either just, like we had kind of almost there in many ways, is just flop it over, use that pole just to support that. Alternatively, the joys of this in many ways is that you can kind of extend it a bit more than you need. Put the fabric on the underside of it and roll kind of the panel around the pole. So you roll that around. It then keeps it really nice and neat. You can pop it in the one end, adjust it as you need to in the other, and then you've got this much new section. There's no flapping, it's a more solid part, and you've got that sort of perfect kind of ventilation point in out. So that works really, really nicely as well. Your 1 point inflation goes from here, goes up and distributes itself through these taps. Now, each tap can be isolated off, so every beam is an individual. It means you have an issue, it's isolated at 1 point, you unzip it, patch it, repair it, replace it, depending on what you need to do to it. And yet again, with the camper, you find you've got a 2-year warranty on the tubes itself, and if you have any problems, you go back to the retailer itself. Other thing you find is that you've got a 12-month warranty on the workmanship, so stitching the seams and things like that. One thing we'd always recommend doing is putting up before you go away, and we've done kind of like a everything you need to know about your tent video, which you can always check out if need be. Because it's a 1 point inflation, it's nice and simple to put up. You can always use an electric pump, push it in, air goes everywhere you need it to, and then jobs are good. And actually, to be fair, you find you get it to a much firmer pressure with the electric pump than the kind of high pressured downdraft pump you get supplied with this particular awning. The brace beams as well helps to give it great stability, but you also got these lights. You can buy additional roof liner we have in here. It's going to help reduce condensation and at least catch the drips as well. But what you also find is it's going to cover those windows if you want that sort of element there. You've got a really nice sort of system where, again, the panels that we saw on the outside can be interchanged with one another, and you can annex onto it. So suddenly you can sleep people inside here without hindering on your main sort of living area, which again is a big thing. You can sleep 2 people in here, you've got a bedroom, or if you want to use it for storage, you toggle the bedroom out and then you've got your whole sort of storage section. The back section, as you can see here, you've got these 2 big kind of barn door styles. Now, the idea behind that is that it doesn't matter which way your door slides back, if you've got a UK van or a continental van, you can actually happily go there, or even you've got a habitational door. It's nice and flexible. So the new thing again for 2021 is the fact that these panels now can be completely removed. So not only can you remove the sides, the front, you can now move the back. And again, that really, really helps to get that minimum weight right down. So you then suddenly having one bag with everything in, I would buy a separate bag or a small bag for all the side panels, the pump, the pegs. It makes it a lot more manageable, and again easier to put up because, you know, or if you're feeding it into a rail, again it just makes less weight, less strain. Put the panels in before you peg it, and you know you're good. By having the panels at the back also removed means that you almost got that seamless area when you open the door or habitational door out. You're not suddenly sort of having to go through a panel which the fabric's rolled to the side. You walk out straight into the section. It flows a lot nicer. So I think, yeah, that also is a big improvement for the 2021 season. Each beam is kind of unique, and you've got things like little hanging points here, for example, the black toggles, so you put a bedroom in here if you want to. So if you want to sleep extra guests, you haven't got to always go to the expenditure of an annex. You can buy a sort of a universal bedroom that goes in here from camper. But let's pick up the camera now and talk for a few more features that kind of it's all got to offer. So if we come and look inside, you probably get a bit more idea about the tunnel section. So as you can see there's the panel van, and like I said, you've got these two barn doors. For the time being, what I've done is just literally roll one down, put it down on the floor, just to kind of give you a little bit of step, just because it's pegged down and Cabby has to move it. But you couldn't feel like open that both up properly, and then it was going to mirror where your sliding door is going to be. So in this case, it's here. The tunnel section, you've got this little kind of corridor section. This is, like I said, your sheltered area to and from the van, so you haven't got to worry about it being completely weather tight, because you see there's a bit of a gap down the side, but you've got a door, so you can actually walk out that door outside rather than going through the awning every time. And you've got these internal strap systems, so it's one to help tension the roof, and then one to help tension the side, so the door is naturally, this will fit better the higher you are to top end bracket, just because it's more material and you haven't got a fold, but it still works. Like I said, here you've got still the roof happily, and that's what I mean. When you've got a sliding door that's that high, as you can see probably right at the top there, as soon as you pull it out, anything lower than that, the material is going to start sloping down. So with lower models you would struggle, and it's particularly with panel vans that you tend to notice this. You've still got little tabs here, so you can put like little lighting systems. So they do their Sabre 150 lights, which work perfectly with this type of awning. And then so the new vent at the top works really well. But as you can see, really quite smart, fits the awning well, and is very in keeping with the van. So like I said, that is the 330 size with said annex. When you go to the so that's then the 390. So internally, depth-wise is exactly the same. Difference being is that it's a bit longer. So as we come in, you've got then two much bigger panels rather than the 330. Surprisingly, I think for bigger motorhomes it's worked really well. And again, what you find with the side doors, as we can see here, they can be interchanged. So in this model, the door is towards the front rather than towards the back. Also, what you find is actually behind the door itself, there's a full mesh door. So it means that you've got ultimate amount of ventilation. You have, one side mesh door, one side mesh door, and then the window is also going to be mesh as well on one of the sides, i.e. that one over there, as we saw at the very start of the video. So you either go for biggest size in the range, which is the 390, your sort of 330, or the 260. Now 260 surprised me in terms of how popular it's been, mainly because it's small for people who want a little bit of room, the versatility of driving away, as we've kind of got it now. So this is how you'd leave it when it's drive away. Tunnel comes down, you've got those two kind of barn doors all located there, and it's quite a nice little neat unit. Alternatively, again, we've got the 390 in the driveway kind of when you leave it, so that you just peg it back from where the van once was. But the 260, I think, is smaller, it's compact. Generally, you find for people, like I said, want a little bit of space, not too much, it works quite well. It's the same interior height as the rest of the models. It's just merely kind of the width along it, so it works quite nicely. In fact, there you go. There's your little roll bit of fabric, so you can see you've got your mesh window on the side there, and you've still got the new vent system up in the top that's going to help. But like I said, for me, it's really, really hard to beat in terms of an awning range when you're looking for sort of motorhomes or sort of highline transit, midline transits, just because it offers so much space and it's more of a living scenario. So it is a very sociable tables and chairs kind of thing, where a lot of driveway awnings on the market are more designed for VW. So it's more about a bit of extra space here, sewn in ground sheets, but also predominantly sleeping, because often there's not enough room to sleep inside the van, where this is definitely more of a living scenario rather than sleeping. So if you want more information, you can check the link below. It'll take you straight through to our website, where we've got all the information you need to know on the latest prices, pack sizes, pack weights, all the optional extras you can think of to add to them, and extra things like the veranda poles, pumps, you name it. if you have any more questions, queries, do feel free to contact us directly. You can always email us, and like I said about earlier, with these, sometimes a fit can be a bit fiddly, especially with these kind of sliding panel vans like we see this one on here now. So I would always recommend sort of just emailing me a photo. I can then double check that and check out that there's not going to be any problems when it comes to the fit, because I said you want it to make sure it fits. But yeah, really proper model. The improvements for 2021 I think are massive. It just makes it more usable, really, in my opinion. The fact that one of the sort of downsides to this is because it's a bigger size awning, it's a bigger pack size and a bigger weight, and now the fact you can properly separate that and make it more usable, more manageable I should probably say, and store it in different places rather than one big lump, I think is a big bonus. Yeah, thanks for our little video review. Let us know what you think in the comments box below. Alternatively, like I said, contact us if you need any more help. But that's kind of the new Dometic Rally Air Pro driveway versions: 260, 330, 390.